Welcome to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki C., all the way from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is brought to you by BALM Global LLC, as well as the Connected Leaders Academy. I am super excited to bring my next guest on today. You are in for an absolute treat. He is actually called the Tax Wizard. He is just an amazing man doing just amazing things. And his name is Patrick Rood. He's originally from Jackson, Michigan. Now the owner of Rood Financial Services tax strategy and CFO firm. They have 3 locations currently, one in Michigan, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Tampa, Florida. They are currently covering clients in over 13 states across the country. Patrick is a Grant Cardone certified 10X coach and speaker, a 2-time award-winning international bestseller, and the author of his new book, The IRS's Dirty Little Secrets. Patrick is a Book of World Record holder as a serial entrepreneur, having several businesses throughout the years and witnessing many successes and failures from entrepreneurs around the country. His passion became helping people succeed in life and business. He also spent 8 years in university traveling around the country doing volunteer work and educating people through drama and the arts. He is also the proud father of 3 beautiful children. His mission is to help individual entrepreneurs from a side hustle or startups to a multi-million-dollar companies with structure, compliance, retaining profits. The goal is to keep more of your hard-earned money in your pocket and make the tax code work for you instead of being taken by the system. Patrick can truly help you leverage the methods and strategies the super wealthy use to retain generations of financial control and security. Without further ado, I'm going to bring up my friend, Patrick Rood.
Woo.
Hey, how are you?
That's a mouthful, isn't it, Nikki?
It is. How did I do?
You did really good. I was impressed.
Awesome. Yeah, that is a mouthful, but you know what? Every accolade has to stand out because you are just doing amazing things. And I just want to go back to when we first met, which is really crazy because I think I say it on all my podcasts that everything started May of 2022.
Right?
Yeah, that's
Oh
when
my
I
goodness.
first met you through Emilio at the media training and speaker competition. The first time I was in the room with some amazing people, and I had the pleasure of meeting you and just hearing your story and what you're about. And then we've just been connected at the hip ever since.
Right? I'm like, you can't get rid of me even if you tried.
Oh, good, because that's my saying too. So I love that. Well, Patrick, let us know. First of all, welcome to the BALM family. You are now officially the BALM family member, which is building a leadership mindset. And I just love everything you're about. You make me laugh. You just do so many amazing things. You're also, my tax guy and everybody's tax guy in our community, just teaching us how to really keep those dollars in our pockets or make it work for us. So first, let's talk about back in the day. Who was Patrick Rood before all of this? And, what really got you into this space?
Oh, who was Patrick Rood back in the day? Ooh. Well, as with everybody else, I've gone through revolutions, right? Thank goodness we are not the people that we were before.
Oh, I love that.
So I grew up in southern Michigan. That's where I'm originally from. That's where my parents and my sister and family all still live there. And I really had a very interesting upbringing. My father was very entrepreneurial. But he was always doing stuff for like hobbies and doing favors for friends. And, he even actually created a few patents for the companies that he worked for and never saw anything from it. right? Never got raises, never got, it was just passed over because he had no college education. And, back in our previous generations, that college degree meant something, right? Whereas now it's a little harder because there's so many people with different certifications that you have to keep leveling up your certifications to maintain relevancy, right? So eventually my father got tired of, working for pennies and wanted to go make a few bucks for himself. So he went out on his own and he started his own business in manufacturing for the automotive industry. And I watched him go through that process, and it was very educational for me. And unfortunately for our family, that endeavor did not end well. But still, it was a great learning opportunity. What happened was my father had tried to do the best he could, right? And I talk about it a little bit in my book. As this is how I got here. This is why I decided to go into accounting. Because even though my father tried his best, there just wasn't a resource out there for him to go to when he got into trouble with the IRS. So the IRS threatened to literally put a lien on everything he owned. Lines of credit got shut down. Like, my father was almost put out of business by the IRS overnight. And so he had to make the decision, what are we going to do? And the stress from it all actually started giving him like mini strokes, and he ended up in the hospital with a mild heart attack. And it's, if you don't have resources or you don't surround yourself with the right people, then when you go through hard times, you're not going to have the resources that you need to pull from, and you're going to be, you can end up hopeless at times, right? So my goal was to be able to be the resource that my parents needed back then that could have kept them in business by helping them or teaching them how to negotiate with the IRS and utilize the tax code to their benefit, so that way they could have maintained their business, they could have handled with the IRS, they could have kept growing and kept going in business. And they were they ended up becoming quite successful in the business before it got shut down. They were doing, they made it like 6 years in business. They were doing $6 or $7 million a year in annual revenue. So by all statistics, they should have made it, right? They were over the 5-year hump. Like, there was nothing that should have stood in their way. And there was just no one for them to turn to get guidance and get help. And no one that was, really interested in just seeing them succeed. And so that's what I took into my practice from that experience. I was like, well, obviously that's a need, So that's what got me into accounting. My father losing his business, and he's okay, right? He made it through. He closed down his business, sold all the equipment out from underneath the IRS to one of his customers, and went to work for them to pay off what he owed. And then he went out and became a consultant. We always joked that my father never played well with others. That's why he became self-employed. But yeah, so that's I was a little bit of a troublemaker when I was young. So it was a full-time job, my parents keeping me out of trouble and then running a business at the same time. So fortunately, through the school of hard knocks and some good mentorship and guidance, here I am, successful in business myself, and being able to help other people be successful in business, and giving them the advocate and the resources that they need to be able to leverage the tax code and be able to retain the profits that they make in their business and keep their hard-earned money rather than giving it to the man.
So that uncle that we didn't ask for, right?
Right. That uncle nobody had.
Exactly. Who called him over? So obviously we were neighbors growing up because I was actually born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. So we were probably only right. Did you know that?
3 hours away.
Yeah. Did you know that?
I didn't know.
There you go. You learned something new about Nikki. Yes, I was born and
Yes.
raised in Chicago, and I lived there for the first 20 years of my life, and then lived in Philly for the next 20 years of my life, and so on and so on, however long that's going to be. I'm ready for another area to kind of plant my family in. So we're working on that. But yeah, so we share that, and that's a
Awesome.
tough. Yeah, that's a tough thing to witness when you have your parents really, working so hard, their blood, sweat, and tears, their time, and really seeing them go through that, and you taking it upon yourself to say, wait, something's wrong here. How do I fix it? How can I fix it? You became the solution. And a lot of people can sit back and complain, could whine, could just give up and, just go on their merry old way. But no, Patrick decided to do something about it. So how did that journey start? Like what kind of things that you do? I mean, you went into accounting. Just tell us a little bit more on that and how you got into Grant Cardone. How did that happen?
Sure. So, I started going to college, and the economy in southern Michigan was awful at that time, right? So I was trying to get out of town as quickly as possible. And I had an opportunity pop up, right, while I was going to college, and that I would still be able to go to college, but then I would be able to do something a little unique as well. I don't know if you know this part of my story or not, Nikki, but I am also a award-winning actor.
Wow. No, I actually didn't know. So let's talk about that.
So that's part of the process, right? So I went while I was going to school. My mother found this book. I don't even know how she got it. And in the book, somebody was talking about this traveling repertory drama company that was international. They were based in Southern California, and they traveled all over the country and all over the world doing live theater in schools, churches, prisons, military bases, hospitals, you name it, basically any place they could gather an audience. And so to appease my mother at that point in time, because I was not interested in theater in the least, I checked out their website, filled out a little questionnaire, and unbeknownst to me, it was a hey, sign me up form, not a hey, send me a brochure form.
Okay.
So they started calling me, and I was like, who are these people? What do they want? So eventually I broke down and answered the call, and did an interview with the company. They were like, hey, just come down, come see a performance, check us out, we'll check you out. If it's a fit, we'll figure something out, all right? And, I'm a poor college kid. Couldn't find a job at that time because the economy was so bad. Not even McDonald's was hiring, if you can believe that. Walmart in that area wasn't really a thing, or it was a very new thing. So even they weren't hiring. I don't know if they have Myers in Chicago, but that was the precursor to Walmart I grew up with. It's a Michigan company, but it's the same basic concept. Okay. So I started flipping old cars. So I would buy a broke down piece of junk from another neighboring state, bring it back to Michigan, fix it up, and then resell it for some kind of profit. And so that's what I was doing at the time. I go down for this interview. They're like, hey, we like you, let's do this thing. I think it'll be a good fit. And I was like, okay. But then they were like, you have to pay for your own training. And I was like, what? I was like, I don't have two nickels to rub together. My father had just lost his business a few years prior. I'm like, this is nonsense. But they're like, no. Look, just see what you can get together, and then we'll make the rest work. Because then they were going to also give me a job as well. If I went through the training and everything, then I was going to be hired by the company and actually get paid to perform. So went through like a week and a half of trying to scrape together anything that I could. And I had a Pontiac Grand Am that I was trying to sell, and I couldn't get anybody to bite on that for the life of me. Eventually went to the end of the week. My bags are packed by the door. I'm getting ready to go down. And I'm like, I don't have two nickels. I'm about to sign my life away for, 2 years doing God knows what, God knows where, with God knows who. What the heck am I doing? I'm trying to keep up on college. I'm like, oh my goodness. But I knew that this was my ticket out, right? So 9 o'clock at night, Saturday night rolls around. I'm supposed to go down on a Sunday morning. And there's a random knock at my door. And there is a woman. And it was a woman. And she didn't have a kid with her, but I guess she had a kid. And she offered to buy my car in cash for the amount that I needed for the training plus $200.
Oh
So
I'm like intrigued.
So the next day I went down, I did my training. I learned how to act. I learned how to read lines and memorize lines, and I learned how to direct and all kinds of things. And then they sent me out on the road. And I was with a team of 3 other people, and we followed this itinerary around Maryland and Virginia and Delaware and DC, and we performed. We performed in the Pentagon. We performed in all kinds of places. Annapolis, the Navy training facility, in churches and schools and nursing homes and you name it, everywhere. So fast forward 8 years and 1 degree later, I'm leading my own team of actors in the Pennsylvania area, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, and all that. And we've gotten into West Point Military Academy. We've been performing in Atlantic City and New York City, just everywhere, all kinds of stuff, and to the point where I did personally over 4,000 performances across the country at that point, and did over 175 different characters or different roles. And then I had directed over that time just shy of 100 plays individually for with big lighting and costumes and the whole 9 yards. And then I went home. I retired. I was like, all right, that's enough.
Huh? Before we get into that thought, I have to just point something out here, because you had no idea what you were getting into.
None.
You didn't have the money already packed. You just knew it was your way out, and however it was going to happen, it was going to happen. And it did, because you were ready. Had you not, I don't think if you packed your bags and you were ready, I don't think it would have happened that way. But something in you believed, whether unconsciously or consciously, you had already made up your mind.
Yeah, so I have my my ex-wife used to make fun of me for it, but she would often say that I live in this thing called Patrick Land, because when I decide on something or when I set my mind to something, inevitably it happens.
Yeah.
And she would give me a hard time all the time. She's like, you're just, like for her, it was, and then that's in that traveling company. That's where I met my wife, that I'm married. I told her, like, I'm going to have this business, we're going to, not have to work regular jobs because, we want to make sure that we're able to spend time with each other and with our kids. And, we're going to have the flexibility to travel all over the world and all over the country. And, like we're going to, painting the whole picture. Right.
Right.
And she was like, no, there's no way. That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. And I was like, just watch me. And there was different things like that throughout life where I would be like, what if, right? Like, what if we, wanted to go to St. Martin and, stay in a luxury villa and go scuba diving and, then ride jet skis up to the villa, where you and the kids are playing in the pool and, crap like that, right? And so actually over COVID in 2020 in like August, we did that. And I was like, see, it happens.
Wow. So where did that mindset come from? Where did that belief that no matter what, I'm going to put this into fruition, like I'm going to manifest this in my life? Like, where did that stem from?
I really wish that I could tell you, but I've never actually sat down and thought about, like, when did I just decide that this was a thing?
You just speak it into existence, and that is just part of, your day to day. And, we're going to make it happen. No questions asked. I love that, because sometimes we self-sabotage what can possibly be as beautiful. And what did your parents say when you said you were going to go with this company?
Oh, they were all for it. My parents have always been extremely supportive of me. And so here's the interesting thing, right? So as an entrepreneur, I thrive better off of people saying, "No, you can't do that." Because then I get this little rebellious spirit in me and I'm like, watch me do it. Now I'm going to do it. But it's a whole different dynamic when, I guess to frame it differently, if you fail when somebody said you're going to fail, that hurts, but it's not a surprise, right? Mm-hmm. But if you fail when people believe in you and they think that you're capable of something, and then you fail their expectations, that's a whole different kind of ouch.
Yeah. I never seen it in that perspective. I mean, I know of it. So what do you think about people that, even if they're not happy, so sometimes we say we're going to do something and we start the process and we're probably miserable in that, but because we said we're going to do it, we kind of just stay in there and we're just not happy. What would you tell that person?
I would tell that person that you are the architect of your own destiny. If you don't like something, stop it.
Yes.
Now that doesn't mean that you're going to be happy all the time and you're not going to go through hardships, but ultimately you have to decide if the payoff that you're working towards is worth the struggle that you're going through. And if it's not, then you need to reevaluate, some things.
Yeah, absolutely. And just don't give up. even if it's not
Yeah.
that particular thing that you thought that you would love to do, or you take a hobby and to try to turn it into a business, but it really was a hobby. It's okay that it didn't work out. Again,
Yeah.
you are the architect
Failure
of
failure is
life.
90% of the game. The only difference between failure and success is the person who succeeded tried one more time.
Yes, 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 yes. I love that. I love that. So, what do you feel about coaching and mentors and things? Because I know you're in this 10X coach with Grant Cardone, and just tell us a little bit about that and how important is it to really place yourself in these networking events, and what does the growth look like for people?
It is phenomenal. Coaching is a necessity, right? What a lot of people don't realize is a lot of people don't treat business and sports the same, right? Every professional athlete has a coach. We have coaches to help us lose weight. We have coaches to help, with business. We have coaches to help our personal lives. If there's an area that you're not confident in, or you're struggling, or you're not getting breakthrough in, that's when it's time to bring in a coach or a mentor. The thing that Grant Cardone says all the time is that your network is your net worth. So if you're not surrounding yourself with people that are where you want to be, or are going the same direction where you want to be, then it may be time to reevaluate how much time you spend on those relationships, right? Because if those relationships aren't serving, and then those are inner circle relationships, right? Like, we all have acquaintances, we all have friends, right? But we all have this core inner circle of people that we allow to speak into our lives, right? And that we and maybe some of us allow far too many people into that inner circle to speak into our lives. I know there was a large period of time in my life where I was guilty of that, hands down. But you have to have some accountability. You have to have someone there that's making sure you've got your mind on straight, that you're actually pursuing your goals, that you're moving towards it. And 10X has displayed that for me. It's had a huge impact on my business. Even from just attending, like, the amount of ROI that I can tie to being associated with Grant Cardone has been ridiculous. For example, we just got back from Vegas, where 10X GrowthCon was. That was a phenomenal experience. Incredible people there. A lot of distractions if you allow them, but the main reason that I went there purposefully was to get new business, right? Was to network with people that I knew loved Grant Cardone, that we had stuff in common, and they were people that I could either bring on as clients, or bring into my inner circle, or people that I could learn from, or people that I could help, right? So that's specifically what I went to that event with, and I probably came out of that event with about $100K in new revenue just from networking.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's so important. I'm glad that you said that you said you went for different things. It wasn't just for the revenue. It was also for connections, also to build your inner circle, also to share that with your other inner circles, right? Because that's what it's about. Like, how can you partner up? How can you collaborate? How can you learn from? How can you serve to? Like, who can you serve to as well? It's all about. And I felt that that's exactly what I needed, though I went to like national events through my multi-level marketing, and it was really more about personal development. I mean, we were all working for the same mission. But when I did networking at this event, I was able to connect to you, connect to Jose, connect to, to so many people that I have either, supported or have supported me, or have encouraged me, have, it just goes beyond what the expectations are. And the ROI is priceless, really. The dollar signs will definitely come for sure, but it's really that authentic community that you build alongside. And yes, there will be distractions. Yes, it won't be peachy every single time, but the important thing is to just get in the room. That's your first step. That's the first thing you have to overcome. Thank you so much. Go on a commercial break and listen to our story to come back and see what's going on. And I have a few other questions about this.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JASCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Yes. Welcome back. We are with Mr. Patrick Rood, the tax wizard. First of all, I just want to say that I was honored to be side by side along you when we actually launched our book together. Yours was the IRS's Dirty Little Secrets, which I also pointed out in your title, where there's dirty little secrets, and which is really cool because you can use it both ways. And I launched my Building a Leadership Mindset. Yes, there it goes. He has a little shush. I love everything about that. Actually, he went bestseller and he sold out at this launch. So, everyone is just jumping on those secrets because we just want to make sure that we take our hard-earned money and move it the way it's supposed to be, move it the right way, so we can keep as much of it as possible as we continue to serve people in our businesses and our families and all that good stuff. But before we get into that, you did say that you're in the Guinness Book of World Records. You hold the title there. What is that about?
So, Mr. Emilio and I are both in the Guinness Book of World Records together for the most authors signing a book simultaneously. So
Wow,
I was hanging out. Yeah, it was cool. I was hanging out in Michigan with my folks, and I got the call from Emilio. He's like, "Hey, I'm in Canada. Come on, get here. You need to be here." And I was like, "I got the kids, Emilio. I don't know if I can. I'll do what I can. Hold on. Let me see. I'm on my way." So drove across Michigan, across Canada to get to where the event was. Drove through the night, got there early in the morning, stayed for the event, and then we won the world record. The Guinness Book, officials were there, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, it was a whole big to do. And then come to find out, and I didn't even realize this. I didn't tell my mother what I was doing. I was like, I've got to go to this event. You and Dad take care of the kids. I'll be back tonight or, first thing in the morning, whatever, it'll be fine. I get back and I'm talking to my mother, and come to find out, when I was just a little boy, I said I was going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Oh my
and
God.
I had forgotten about it.
Wow.
Didn't have any. I still don't have any memory. I'm like, "Are you sure, Mom?" She was like, "Yeah. Patrick Land is a real place." I'm like, "Hey, it's okay. They like me here."
Yeah, absolutely. That I'm sure that is not something that is, quickly forgotten. And then when it actually comes to fruition, and then she can go back and see that, painted of what you put together, at a very young age. And you went again no questions asked. You answered the call, not knowing what to expect. Like these are the things that we need to start doing, like listen to our intuitions. Like, yes, we have to kind of, check things out, but sometimes we don't have that time. You have to go obviously with, protection of, your mind, body, and soul. But when the call is there, like sometimes you just have to act because those opportunities don't come all the time. So that's just absolutely, I definitely needed to know about that because I didn't know if it was part of what Emilio had done. And I know there's quite a few of you in our circles that are a part of that. So that's just a beautiful thing to hear. And to even hear that your mom reflected that back and told you. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome.
Serendipity, man. Serendipity.
Absolutely. And then so let's go back to the IRS's Dirty Little Secrets. What made you write this book?
I have been talking about writing a book for a long time. This is our first edition, and the concept originally came out that it was going to be a workbook, right? Because there's such a broad volume of information in there. But one of the things that I really tried to do when we nixed the workbook idea and just went with, let me just get a what I consider to be foundational knowledge, right? Because a lot of us don't even have a foundation when it comes to finance. Because we're not being taught finance in school unless you're going for accounting. And then even then, you're not learning how to utilize financial information to the best of your ability or to take advantage of the laws that are in place. You're just learning how to read reports and process data, right? They don't teach you. No, it doesn't. It doesn't do anybody any good.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm my soapbox. That's my soapbox, right?
No worries.
So I wanted to create a book that people could use to give themselves like a foundational financial education and see into the mindset that it takes to leverage the law to your benefit, right? Because it's a mind shift, right? We're so ingrained, we're so taught to err on the side of caution. You can't do, you gotta be black or white. You can't live in the gray, right? That's dangerous. Don't do anything dangerous. Don't do anything risky, and not that there is anything risky about leveraging the law to your benefit, but what becomes risky is people that try to leverage the law and do it incorrectly. That's risky. Without proper knowledge and education, doing that puts you're essentially making a calculated risk, right?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to give people a handbook on how to put themselves in the right frame of mind on how to look at the law, how to look at taxes, because taxes are optional. You don't have to pay them if you follow the law correctly. Now, you have to pay them if you don't do things that are that give you benefits in the law. So if you structure your life and you structure your business in a way that aligns with the law and leverages those to your benefit, then you can have a very, very comfortable, cushy, amazing life. And that's basically what wealthy people do. They leverage education, they leverage knowledge, and they put it into practice. One of the things that I've been telling people a lot lately is that, we've all heard the old saying that knowledge is power. Well, knowledge by itself isn't power. The only time knowledge becomes powerful is when we apply it. Applied knowledge is power. And
Absolutely.
so that's what
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm hoping to be able to give people with this book, is to get them to think outside the box, get them to understand that, you don't have to be the one doing it all the time, but you need to surround yourself with experts in the field where you aren't, and that are going to help you and guide you and teach you and educate you along the way, so that you have a greater understanding of the things that control your finances. And essentially you take the power back. You control your finances. You will always do a much better job. You will always be a much better steward of your money than anyone else will, government included.
Absolutely. And that just shows a true leader to your own life, and actually sharing your knowledge with the world so that they can be, in the know of what they should and shouldn't do. So that's a great starting place. Are we going to have a sequel to that? Are we going to have, is there a coaching program to that? Like what comes
So
now? What's the next step?
there is another book. I was joking around about it one day with my clients, and so it was the title of the book is still a work in progress, but it's essentially something like sexy financial responsibility, or financial responsibility is sexy, or something like that.
I love it. I love it. That's definitely catchy for sure. Something people will want to pick up, because it kind of leaves them in that, what is this about? I still need to know
Yeah.
more. So I'm loving it. I can't wait till it comes out. Patrick, you've just been amazing. I'm just glad to be in community with you and just doing life, and
Same,
being a
Nikki.
part of, your journey, and you a part of mine, and just being, in the circles that we're in, and just doing amazing things, because we still
Yeah,
haven't
you're
arrived.
killing it, girl.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm trying. I am definitely working hard on my mission to really get my voice out there. And it's really easy when you have a community. I was just telling someone that in 2022, the only thing I prayed for was for God to give me community, people I can serve, people
Yeah.
can serve me. And I wasn't looking for what I got, but let me tell you, when you ask, he will pour. And when he poured,
Yeah.
that first event, because that, I think I did that prayer in February, and then that's when I started meeting Emilio, and getting set up for the speaker competition, connected with Jose and just everyone else. Raul, Gabby was the first one to outreach to me, because she was, after she heard my speech. And do you remember what I talked about? What did I talk about? Validation. I talked about
Yeah.
validation. Why are we always letting other people validate what we want to do? And she, like, literally, when I got to my I was gonna say desk, like I was in school, right? When I got to my chair, I looked at my phone, and she was the first one who messaged me on Messenger. She friended me. She's like, "Oh my God, Nikki, I love your story." She's like the number one supporter for everyone. And I just knew that I was meant to be there, this was where I needed to spend that Saturday morning. And let me tell you, Emilio starts his events really, really early. So that was like 7:30, I think. And we weren't out of there until about 6. So, but it was, every second was all worth it. I know.
It was. It was. And yes, he starts his events so early. I love that man to death, but I'm like, Emilio, no one else wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Just you, bro.
Yeah, I know. I was in Texas with him, and and he was on 75 hard at the time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we were like, our events, like, we were in training till about 7-9 o'clock. We probably didn't go to bed till like maybe 11 noon, midnight. And he was just already up and pumped and ready to go. And it was just a pleasure to, get to know him and hang out with him. And I'm just glad that he really asked me, like, Nikki, what is your story? And I'm like, dude, I don't have a story. He's like, everybody has a story. So I shared with him, and, he bring me into his world. And I just been blessed ever since. And again, I'm just happy that I met you, happy that we're doing life together.
Same.
What are some final words that you want to leave our audience with? First of all, tell us your handles. How can we reach you? How can we connect with you? He's the tax wizard. You need to have him on your top tier for all your financial questions, and get your monies in order.
You can always reach out to us through the website, roodfinancial.us. You can email me directly, info@roodfinancial.us. And that comes directly to me. Shh. That's the inside line. And Instagram, Facebook @the Rood Financial, Instagram Rood_financial. Even you can find me on Twitter, but I don't necessarily go there that often. It's @FindTheRood, which that's another story for another time. We got some things cooking.
Yeah, I need to learn about Twitter because someone said that was a good place to be. I know I used to be on it when it first came out.
Desktop MP5
Yeah, it's a different kind of animal. Final words. Take control. Take financial responsibility, and you can. I coined this term in the book. Nobody else has used it yet, but you need to teach yourself or get with someone that can teach you some financial ninjutsu. Yeah. Because you got to fight.
Yes, absolutely. You need to actually copyright, patent it, something. You need to house that right in there. That's yours. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Patrick, for a great episode, for just chatting it up with me and, giving some inspiration to our listeners. And thank you all for listening to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Nikki C., again, brought to you by BALM Global and the Connected Leaders Academy. Have a great day. And as I always say,